Stonehenge has 30 ley lines meeting in its centre. There are 30 stones here with 30 gaps, and each of the ley lines flows into the centre of the stones. It spirals around 5 times, and then there's a vortex in the centre which then spirals out again. And that's something that belongs to the land. It's not anything to do with the stones themselves. So our ancient ancestors who first came to this landscape at least 10,000 years ago, I find it quite feasible that they would have picked up on that it's something they would have felt, because they were in such close contact with nature and the world around them. We recognise that when we go to the coast we feel differently, that we can feel energised. If you go up a mountain you feel differently. We're changed physically and neuropsychologically by those places. We're less used to the idea that there may be places inland that affect us and the way we feel and the way we respond to them, and Stonehenge is definitely one of those places. People are drawn to it from all across the world. We have something in the region of 1.5 million visitors a year, and many of our visitors come either with the intention of finding something at the stones, or find themselves affected by them in a way that they weren't expecting. And perhaps the ley lines have something to do with that. Some people desperately want to feel something at Stonehenge. Not everybody does. We live in a very visual society, and so dowsing's a way of physically seeing the effect of earth energy lines. And if I may, I can show you the effect of them. If we walk over here just a little way, there's a little ley line. Who knows what kind of technology might have formed from the energy of the ley lines at Stonehenge. We're in the visitor centre in the exhibition now, so we don't have the powerful energy of the stones, but there is a very small energy line here which I can show you by dowsing. So if I hold this pendulum here, it's going to do exactly what you would expect it to do and just hang there. But if I take a little step over here, the pendulum starts to spin. And if I walk along this line, it'll spin for about 6 feet walking along there. And then it stops for what you'd think was no apparent reason. I know that there are no water pipes underneath or electric underneath, so it is just a little patch of earth energy that's there, which is very useful to demonstrate inside the exhibition. Earth energy is something that's known about all across the world. In the East, they're called dragon lines. The Native American Indians call them rainbow lines. They're not the same as the Australian Aborigine song lines, but it is similar. We call them earth energy lines or ley lines. And right up until 1,000 years ago, there was knowledge of these energy lines, and people built the altars of English churches on the crossing points of these lines. And when you think about it, we go to a church not just to pray, but to heal as well. Very often it's for spiritual or emotional healing, and once those areas are in line, as it were, then physical healing can often follow. So it's healing the whole body, not just one small part of it. Unfortunately, about 1,000 years ago, those in power decided that anyone with knowledge of these lines was a bit of a threat to them, because knowledge is power. And so the stories and the knowledge of the ley lines was kind of driven underground and appeared in legends, especially about dragons and dragon slaying. And very often those stories are talking about those things.
Tady tenhle ten kámen jsem nacítila jako intuitivně, že je to spouštěč, že vlastně tady je třeba se zastavit, aby jsme se mohli naladit. Že tenhle ten kámen, který stojí přibližně 50 metrů od samotného Stonehenge, se mi zdá, že je velmi důležitý pro celý ten systém.